Hi everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Things to Make You Go. So today's topic is a topic that I feel very strongly about, and that is male and female friendships. Can they exist? So I have a lot to say about this, and I'll try not to say everything that I think because I don't want the video to be too long. But let me start off by saying that I am an advocate for male and female friendships. I'm an advocate because I love men. I really do. I enjoy their company. I just love being around them. I really, really, really do. Some of my most memorable friendships and just experience of being friends with someone comes from being friends with a man. Yes. So it's not that I don't have female friends. In fact, my inner circle is more females than males, but I just love men. Yes. So I am definitely an advocate. So why people don't think that they should exist or can exist is because of infidelity, which is something we discussed in episode number 1. And some people believe the intimacy that friendship naturally brings between the two individuals is a pathway or is a gate to infidelity. Yes? And I would agree with that thinking. However, I believe that if the parties are mature and aware, they can navigate that and they can have a sound and healthy friendship between them. So why is it necessary for men and women to be friendships? Meaning, why would I want to push that? I want to push it because, well, of course, I just told you all I love men, but also because I think that men bring a lot of treasure to a friendship, a life. And one of the things is that they're very, very, they are very stable and sound. They also, because they are less emotionally sensitive. So understand what I'm saying. I never said that they aren't. I'm saying that they are less. And they tend to respond less with emotions. You find that the friendship is a lot easier to navigate in the earlier stages. What do I mean by that? With female friendships, feelings are always bound to be hurt, etc., etc., right? Because that's the beauty of femininity. We reside a lot in our feelings, and that brings a lot of color to life, yes? However, with the male now, because they are more prone to pragmatism and logic, they reside more in their thinking. It is, even if you hurt their feelings, it is not usually an explosion of emotions that will drive you away. That's one. Or two, they don't tote for long. If you ever watch little boys interacting, or even adolescents, or maybe even two men, if they have an issue, they might be upset with each other now, but best believe by tonight or tomorrow morning, everything finished. If you are a mother of sons, or if you are, well, the men will know what I'm talking about. If you are a mother of sons, your boy children, and you will have it out now, and in the night is almost like they forget and they normal. You know, they back to loving upon you. And that's one of the beautiful things, of being in a relationship with a man, a friendship of a man. Now, in order for it to be healthy, as I said, you have to be mature and aware. So one of the things that we discussed in the infidelity episode was appreciating that some of us have the ability to enter into intimate experiences with persons who we are not in a committed relationship. Now, I'm talking about on the different levels of yourself. So the physical, the emotional, the social, the spiritual, the intellectual, mental, right? So you have the ability to engage in intimate experiences with others. You have to make sure that your boundaries are clear. You have to know when too far is has come for you. You have to know that. If you don't, then you're going to end up in problems. Now, as we're talking about intimacy, I think that is one of the things that persons can really educate themselves to help themselves have healthier male-female friendships. Because a lot of us think of intimacy on one plane, and that's the physical, right? And physical intimacy doesn't even have to be of a sexual nature, right? So I will touch on that a little bit so that we understand. Physical intimacy does not have to lead to arousal. How can I prove that? Because you experience physical intimacy with your children, with your parents, with your siblings, you know. So a hug, a shaking of your hand, a holding of hands, a meeting of eyes, those things are not necessarily sexually, arousing, you know, acts. That's not the intent per se, right? So now it can happen with somebody who you are sexually aroused by. That's a different thing, but it is possible to be physically intimate with persons and it not have a sexual nature, yes? So anyway, but when we think of intimacy, we automatically think of sex, and we shouldn't, because it's broader and bigger, yes? So physical intimacy is one type of intimacy, but we have spiritual intimacy, we have mental, intellectual intimacy, which is one of my favorite ones. You all will think because I'm so much into God and prayer that spiritual intimacy is one of my favorites, but no. Spiritual intimacy is very rare to experience, meaning being able to be vulnerable from a spiritual basis with another person. For me, if I do, I will explain why in a later video. But mental, intellectual, and emotional intimacy, being able to be vulnerable in those areas of your life with another individual, is something that most people find rare. So when they find it, they hold on to it, you know, and is the holding on to it is where it will mash up the male-female friendships. I would think that the responsible thing for you to do before you get into a relationship, figure out who you are potentially entering the relationship with, right? Because a lot of us just move on what we are attracted to. However, our attraction may just be on one level again, and that's to do with physical, yes? Or our attraction, and who knows, I know some of us get into relationships not because we are attracted to the person, but because the person is attracted to us. So our interest was only piqued because they were interested in us, yes? Where are you going to go with that, you know? Because of course the way that we do relationships is that we don't get to know the person and then decide to be in a relationship with them. No, we get into a relationship with them and then get to know them along the way. Now, I do admit that you wouldn't know somebody full off the bat, you know, but at least you should get to know if the way that the person thinks, the person's particular philosophy on life, you know, their approach to life, etc., is something that you would want to journey with, to be a part of. You should, you know, but we don't do that, yes? Which is why it is we end up in so many problems in our relationships. Anyway, I digress. Coming back to male and female friendships. So you have to be able to establish your boundaries, you know, say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do, this is what I can do, and this is what I cannot do, yes? So, for example, with me, I have male friends, as I said, and I know there are certain things that I can and cannot do with them, yes? The other thing I would say for male and female friendships that make it work or help it, keeps it healthy, is to respect the person that they decide to be in a relationship with, regardless if you think that it's a good relationship or not. Respect it. When my male friends get into relationships, I usually take a step back, right? That's to give them the opportunity to befriend the individual they are in a relationship with, and also to give them the space to evaluate what it's like, what the relationship really has to offer. You see, if you as a friend, you're always there to prop up, they can't necessarily evaluate the true value of what they have in this relationship, because they will always have your support, they will always have your presence, they will always have you there, right? So they may be entering into a relationship that is really not healthy, but because they have you there and you will make everything all right, they enter into madness. So to take a step back. And when I say take a step back, meaning take a step back to whatever that means, and have that conversation. And if you have friends who are looking at this, male and female friends, agree to that. When I am in a relationship, I'm not all up in your space and all up in your grill all the time. I'm not all up in your business. And that will help you, the person in the relationship, the particular friend in the relationship, really assess and evaluate. Because if it is a relationship that is going to lead to marriage, right? Because, of course, this is another thing we'll talk about in another video. All relationships end in one out of two ways. Marriage or committed relationship, because people now have committed relationships and they don't do marriage, which I, of course, have an opinion about, or it ends. Yes? So the reality is if this is leading to a long-term relationship, then that person is supposed to become their best friend also. Yes? But they could only become their best friend if they have space for another best friend, or they have space for another friend. Yes? So you have to take a step back. So basically, as I said, meaning having male friends, having female friends, depending on who you are, it is a great blessing. I am definitely for it. I don't believe that every single male-female friendship has to end in disaster. Like all friendships, it should be built on everything that is sound and good. My personal definition of friendship is someone who knows who you are and loves you just the same. So it requires, of course, vulnerability. It requires trust. It requires love, and love not in the flighty sense, but love as in 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-7 kind of love. And that's the hard knocks kind of experience, the true version of love. But it is possible, and you could gain so much from it. Do I believe that there are a lot of unhealthy relationships that are labeled male-female friendships? Yes, I do. I do. However, I don't think that the bad apples that exist should just have persons throw away the concept, because we need each other. How unexciting it would be for man to not have women around him, and how boring our lives would be as women if we didn't have men. Yes? So love up each other now, but in the right way. If you have a male friend or if you have a female friend. So see you next time, guys, on the next episode of Things to Make You Go.